You're welcome along to another Monaghan Way in association with Northern Sound and indeed myself, Sean McCaffrey. I'm trying to think. I think this could be episode 9 that we have for you here. Hopefully you've caught up with all the other episodes, and don't forget they're available on the YouTube streaming platform, of course, on Apple and your Spotify platforms or anywhere else that you pick up on your podcasts. And this evening, I'm delighted to say we're joined by a world champion, and we're still staying in Monaghan for that. And you may see visually if you're looking at this, it is, of course, Shane McGuirk, the WDF, that's the World Darts Federation 2024 World Champion in our company here. We have chatted to this man on a couple of occasions, but it's nice just to sit back down again and have a chat with him once more. And it's very interesting, again, visually, if you're watching this, Shane's sitting in front of a dartboard. If I move my head, I'm sitting in front of a dartboard as well. But I tell you what, I think the dartboard that's behind you, Shane, gets an awful lot more use than the one that I have here. So it does. Thanks for joining us. And I take it we're in your practice room there, are we?
Yeah, we're in the, I don't know what you want to call it. This is where the magic happens, I suppose. This is where the practices be done, and the time has to be put in. You know, if you don't put the time in here, you don't get the results anywhere anywhere else you're going. This is kind of their foundation of everything. So good setup at home is good to have, and it kind of brings you on to the next level.
Absolutely. I just remarked to you, it's a beautiful sunny evening here. We're heading towards a heat wave for the weekend. And I'd noted, I know from the dartboard behind me, it was the winter evenings, the dark evenings, great use was put to it. It probably hasn't been seen now in the last few weeks. From your own perspective, an evening like this evening, the sun's out, it's warm, it's bright. Does it be difficult to have to place yourself in the room there and do the practice? Or maybe it's your profession, you just got to do it?
Yeah, I think you just have to get on with it, really. Everyone wants to be out in the summer's evenings, meeting up with your mates or going for a couple of cold drinks or something anywhere. But, you have to put a bit of time into this as well. And unfortunately, the weather can be a bugger, but we have to get through it as well, because this is kind of what I want to do. And this is kind of where I want my career to go, is full time, is doing darts. But I just kind of enjoying it at the moment.
Absolutely. And why wouldn't you be? I'm just thinking, listen, if you did want to go for a cold drink, the chances is there's going to be a dartboard there. So you could tie the two in maybe if a situation did arise. But bring us back December, January of this year, WDF, Lakeside stage. I can recall meeting you around this time last year, whenever you'd qualified, or a little earlier in the year, to be going to Lakeside, and you were looking forward to it. Did you ever envisage what was going to come of going to that iconic venue?
No, not at all. My goal for the whole weekend was to basically win a game or two. Try to get over the first weekend of playing. But that's the idea. The idea of it is just turn up and see what happens. But I went over there and I played Saturday. I think it was one of the days, and then so after that, I had flight booked straight home on Sunday evening. I had to go back to work Monday and Tuesday. Flew back over on Wednesday and finished out my week.
And you mentioned there about having the flight booked to come home to go to work. Was that always going to be the case? Were you going with the thought that I'm going to the Lakeside, maybe I'm not going to win the game, I might as well be prepared to go back to Monday? Or it was a case of no matter what happens, I have to be clocking back in again?
Yeah, you kind of know what way the draw is going to go for you before the whole thing starts. So I kind of knew that even if I did win 2 games, that my next game wouldn't be till Wednesday night. Last game Wednesday night, I think it was. So going home was kind of better off for me than sitting around a hotel room for a couple of days. So kind of keeps your mind away from it too. And luckily enough, it worked out for me.
It certainly did, and I can envisage that it brings you back maybe to the home comforts, as you said. You weren't then invested or sitting in a room and wondered what's going on. As a matter of interest, did you watch it when you were back home? Then were you keeping an eye on what was happening?
No, not really. To be fair, I didn't really watch much of it. I still haven't really watched it back either. But I just think that whatever was going to happen was going to happen. I didn't really care who I was going to play. So pretty much I was just going in, just make sure I was there on time, make sure all my preparation was done back here. and just to get back out there and just kind of relax myself. I didn't rush to get over. I did take my time, and I was over there plenty of hours beforehand, so I could get my practice in. You can just set yourself up right for the day. So that's kind of the way I worked it. So anyone else, I didn't really care.
A- At what point or at what stage did you suddenly begin to think, listen, I can go all the way in this? And we know it was a very iconic final then that you did have against, of course, Paul Lamb, that had done the nine darter against an Irish man, the only man to do a nine darter televised at the WDF, and all the history was associated with that. But was there a point whenever you went back on the Wednesday and you knew you were going to be running into the weekend that you suddenly thought, you know what, this could be here for me?
It wasn't the Wednesday. I'd say it was. I don't know what game it was. I think it was just about to get into the quarterfinal, or maybe it's the morning of the quarterfinal. And I was just thinking, you're playing all right here. You're doing well. Like, I didn't know how I was going to take to the stage, take to the cameras, take to the pressure of it all, but kind of took to it like, I don't know, like a duck to water, I suppose, and kind of just worked out for me. And it was probably around the quarterfinal time I just realized you're in this competition now. Just turn up.
Yeah, and the big thing about it in the background, and I know you as the darts player and those that are involved in it, the stats probably play a big part for you. And there was one particular stat come out about your finishes at one stage on the doubles was just incredible. You were missing none of them. There was a point where you had a high average, a very, very high average then as well. So I take it all of that was feeding into the confidence for you.
Yeah, I just kind of realized that what I was doing was working. I I took a different approach coming up to the whole competition, really, with practice wise, and I kind of just, I don't know, practice was going really well at home, and kind of give you the more confidence when you were going out there that practice was going well. So why can't the game go well? Why can't anything else go well? So, I think my head was full of confidence going into it too. Like, so I think more so it's a mental game, darts. Anyone that plays it will know it. So kind of was in the right frame of mind and just went in, and the rest is history, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know you had been the Irish champion going over there, and you had claimed that in Killarney, and that's the biggest probably part of darts here in Ireland. But going over to that iconic stage, the Lakeside, and then as you moved through the competition and into the latter end of it, I take it that was probably the biggest occasion you'd ever been involved in from a stage presence in darts.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's definitely the biggest competition I've ever probably played in. I think before that, like the Motor Super Series is probably the biggest thing I've done. Um, I just played in a couple of UK Opens and stuff, but playing in a World Championships, no matter which one it is, it's massive, because at the end of the day, there can only be one winner of that competition. And luckily enough, it came home with us. So
That's the most important thing. And we were there for the homecoming celebrations and all that was associated with it. And I take it the life has been turned around on the back of that. 7 months in, we see obviously you're still part of the Modus Super Series. You have a win or two maybe on your belt in that regard. Exhibition games coming up. And I know we're catching you now before you head to the land down under Australia and a tour down there. So like it just must be an explosion in regards to your life and all that's coming at you and the opportunities.
yeah, it's been a busy year. I think I'm handling it quite well, but we're always on the go. You're living out of a suitcase this year, but trying to balance it between work and getting away. Like, my work is very good to me. Like, they let me off all the time to go to these things. Um, so like to go to somewhere like Australia, I've never been before. So to get invited to come out and play in different parts of Australia over the next couple of weeks is going to be incredible. Like,
And that's the thing we should always remember as well. That are you professional at the sport as of yet, Shane? You still, as you mentioned, you still have a job that you come to, a job you still do during the middle part of the week. But is it a professional or semi-professional
yeah.
sort of level you're at?
I don't know what they clarified as now, since I won the World Championships. But if before that, it would have been like a semi-professional. But because you've got a world title now and you're a world champion, you're probably classed as a professional now. So I'll happily take that. No problem,
Absolutely.
because that's where I want to be, and that's where I want to continue to be.
Absolutely. And it's always an upward trajectory as well. And even going on these exhibition games, it's getting you out, it's getting your name out, and you have to build that profile for yourself in the sport, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You need to take on different people from all around the place. Like, you have to be on your game if you want to play well against these guys at the exhibitions, especially if you want to perform and give them a good show, I suppose. That's what I like to try to do anyway. But like, it gets your name out there 100%. Like, for potential sponsors to come on board, and uh, anything really, like, that you can come with being a champion of any sport. Like, like, you get your rewards at the end, but your name has to be out there, I suppose. Your probably name has to be popular, and you just need that status behind you. So that's what we're kind of trying to do here, and so far this year has been going quite well.
I take it you've seen that. I take it you've seen your name out there. You have people approaching you now. And I was at one of your exhibition games against Gerwin Price in the Four Seasons Hotel there in the earlier part of the year. And I noted now you're heading out to Australia. You're very active on social media. I do see as well lots of little challenges and trick shots that you be doing and that. And that's what it's all part of.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's more, the more interaction you do, I think, it's the better it is for you. Like, I suppose it's all positive at the same time. I just try to get my name out there as much as I can, because like, most of these stuff you put up online, like trick shots or whatever it is you're doing, like, that's what's getting me exhibitions. That's what's getting me a bit of work at the weekends. And like, I love doing the exhibition work. Like, you get to meet people from all over the country, and like, so far I've done all my exhibitions in Ireland, and I've won this weekend before I go away as well. So it's good, like, to meet new people and just get a sense of where other people's are in their leagues and their standard. It's good fun.
Absolutely. You speak of standards there, and obviously they all look towards the PDC, and that's the big one that's up in the lights there and everything else. But the WDF and the standard that has risen over the past number of years as well. It probably, unfortunately, did maybe fall away slightly. And like, we all grew up with the lakeside, and then the PDC come in and took over in that regard. But we can see now the standard is rising all the time, and it's rising because the likes of yourself, a champion we can talk about here in Ireland and in our own very Monaghan, and the likes of, dare we say it, the Luke Littler effect that has just took the sport to a whole new level, particularly among young people.
Yeah, I think it's very good for the game. It's more so, like, I've never seen as many young people playing darts in my life. They're out there looking at what he's doing and what other players are doing now, and especially the younger ones, they're getting more perks in the game. So they're getting more competitions, they're getting more leagues, they're getting more championships that they can go and perform and playing for their country, play for their counties now. And it's incredible to see, like, the All Irelands for the youths it's always full. Like, so, like, in Ireland, like, the youth darts is booming at the minute. So let's hopefully it keeps that way. And even like little bits that I do as well. Like, you hear people talking about young lads coming up to me and saying, "Oh, I want to beat you. I'm going to beat you in the next couple of years. I've already started, but I'm going to beat you." All this talk, like, it's good to see them all fired up and ready to go. So I'll take all them challenges anyway whenever they come and play me.
Absolutely. And I know you still play in the local leagues with us here as well for the Welcome Inn in Ballybay. And I'd imagine after you returned back, everyone was wanting to have a go at the world champion whenever you were back part of that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you don't win every game. Like, it's just because you have a title probably behind your name, you don't come home and win all your league games. So whenever someone beats me, they get a good buzz out of it. And you know what? Because most of these lads in Monaghan, like, they are my county teammates as well. So I get a buzz out of seeing them celebrate as well. So, there's no hard feelings in there at all. So we're all working towards a county team that we can take down to the All Irelands. And, we've back-to-back quarterfinals in the All Irelands, and we're hoping to go a couple of steps forward or something.
Absolutely. I mentioned about Ballybay there, and that's close to your homestead. We'll go back to there. I'm Mullen man by name and by nature. And I know at one time you were involved underage on the footballing end of things, but decided that darts was the way you wanted to go.
Yeah, it was fun doing both. Like, at one point, like, I was playing football on a Thursday night, I think it was, and then you'd run from training into Animal Centre, where we'd have a darts match on at 8 o'clock in the evening. You'd run from one to the other and stuff like that. But then, like, you had football games at the weekend, and then I wanted to go to darts competitions at the weekend. So you can't be in two places at once, I suppose. So I knew that when I was up and I suppose it was when I was up and driving around, I had the full license and stuff. I think I quit playing football after minors, and I never really looked back.
Well, obviously not when you see the career that you forged for yourself here, but it's probably an unusual one. You'd normally see if you're in a field sport, you might deviate into another form of sport like that. But the division between being on the football field to go into darts, and I'd imagine the biggest concern you ever had when you were on the football field was not to be picking up any sort of a hand injury, because that would certainly put an end to the darts very quickly.
Yeah, you always run that risk for sure. You can't really fear it that much because you can hurt your hand doing anything, I suppose. At work, just outside if you're working around the house or anything like that. So, like you can't really let it put the fear into you. So you just kind of crack on with life and see how it goes.
Well, I suppose I was just going to say that. Do you be extra conscious about your hands, or if you are involved, if you're at work, you're just thinking that this is my livelihood? I suppose you said if you were to be overthinking it, well, you'd do nothing then.
Yeah, I don't really think about it. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of more so like if something happens, it happens. Like it was always going to happen, maybe, or you couldn't stop it from happening. Like even if you are a bit more cautious, and sometimes being too cautious can cause more accidents, I suppose.
The other part of Shane, you mentioned there about all these underage competitions that's now coming into vogue, I suppose, because there's such a marked increase with young people getting involved in the sport. For yourself, was them outlets there as well, or how did you progress yourself up to the stand that you're at now?
I never played youth darts growing up. All my darts I played it up behind me here on the board at home. That's kind of where I just did my trade, I suppose. And as much as I wanted to go, we just didn't really go. I was probably, as I said, it was probably when I got my license, kind of went out. I could go to a local competition in Monaghan or Fermanagh or wherever it is. Like I could just tip over the road and go to these competitions, meet new lads, crack on with them, and you start making more friends within the darts world. And it's kind of nice that you can go anywhere now and you'll always know somebody.
Well, absolutely, yeah, and it's the sort of sport that does take you out like that. It's a very sociable sort of sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think that no matter where you go, you always find somebody you could sit at their table or whatever it is, have a practice with them when you're there. And even if you're just an outsider walking in, which I've been most of the times, there's always lads come over, chat with you, see how you're getting on, or ask you what you've done in darts and stuff like that, like, and how much you enjoy it. Like, and I think when you have an enjoyment in the game and they have an enjoyment in the game, it brings you closer together, I suppose, and that's where you start making all your mates.
Absolutely. You talked there about practice, and again, visually looking at the board behind you. On a regular day, what sort of practice would you be putting in on the board there? Do you have a routine? Do you have a time schedule that you work to?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I've been that busy now this last couple of weekends, and well, this last couple of months, I suppose, in the weekends, that practice during the week kind of doesn't really come in repetition, I suppose. There could be a couple of weeks where I wouldn't practice at all and just kind of get myself a break, because you probably throw in two exhibitions at the weekend or two competitions at the weekend. So you have plenty of darts and practice that you do with them beforehand if you're there 2 hours before a competition starts or whatever it is. So like I'm trying to do an hour here, an hour there when I can. I wouldn't want to overdo it either, because I know lads can get burnt out, or that's where you kind of pick up like a muscle injury, I suppose. And I don't want that to happen to me, because I just feel like my career is only starting now.
Yeah, and that's it. It's on an upward trajectory, obviously, for you. And as a note from where you would have found yourself maybe in December of last year to where you find yourself now in the middle of July, I'm sure you would never have envisaged there'd be tours to Australia, exhibition games at the weekend, a trophy in the house that claims you to be a world champion. It's been some journey.
Yeah, it's weird how quick it goes. Like you were 7 months in after it, and it just feels like only a couple of weeks ago all this happened. And yeah, this Australia thing now in the next couple of weeks is going to be mental for me. I think it's going to be we're going all over Australia in a couple of weeks, so it's you're flat out traveling, you're seeing everything that you probably wished you could have seen when I was younger anyway. I think this is an opportunity that I may never get again. So I'm going to grab it in both hands, and I'm going all for it. And hopefully, I've told a few lads that there might be a $9 coming over, but I can't promise that one.
Well, you have one of them to your name in competition as well. I think it was in the qualifying school, wasn't it, that you hit one?
Yeah, I've hit a few now in games. I've hit a few in
Yeah.
Monaghan now, and then I've hit one over in the PDC as well. Yeah, so like, it's they're there, and you hit them in practice a good bit as well. So, well, I think this last while I find that my game's improving from December. I've improved a good bit. I think that's just through confidence, really. But um, I'm hoping that I can keep it going for next December here, or November, December, and go back into the Worlds, and hopefully I can give a good account of myself to try to retain the cup. And back to back world champion does sound nice. It might not be doable, but it does sound nice.
Well, that's it. But the thing is, I suppose the bullseye is on your back going into this championship now. It's a nice place to be for any player to be going in, to be the one that's going to be on the pedestal. You're going to be vetted when you go over there as the world champion, being on the stage, and you say, naturally enough, everybody's going to be coming, I suppose, gunning for you. The Modus Super Series then as well. Maybe just explain to those maybe wouldn't be familiar with that, the sort of the idea behind it as well. Is it similar from watching to the Premier League that we would see? It's a sort of a series of competitions and then qualifiers going through?
Yeah, you kind of have like your main group starts like on a Monday morning. There could be 6 in your group. You have to try to top your group by Wednesday. So you have 15 games to play from Monday to Wednesday. And if you top your group, you're straight into Saturday night finals night. And then if you don't top your group, you either go into the Group B or Group C, which happens on Thursday morning session or Thursday evening session, and a Friday evening session, Friday morning session. So, like, if you're in the full week, you kind of get two digs, I suppose, of trying to get through the Saturday night, which is kind of everyone's goal, to get through the Saturday night and play off for the finals. That's when the crowd comes into the venue, and you get a bit more atmosphere, and I think it's a bit more fun when that happens. And luckily enough, I've won 2 of them now, so I've Champions Week as well to look forward to in that. So it's going to be a very busy couple of months.
And the perfect preparation, obviously, for going into the championship. I know, again, visually, you just pointed over your shoulder the 2 medals behind there then as well. And I take it the World Trophy is never too far away either.
Oh, it's down in the sitting room, sitting on the mantelpiece. So it is. It doesn't leave there now. It'll be going into a suitcase now very shortly. But no, for now it's sitting down there and it's looking well.
I take it it's going to Australia. It's going to be part of the luggage just going down under as well.
Yeah, it's coming over. A lot of people want to see it. A lot of people never seen it. The names that's on it it's unreal. Like, you have Phil Taylor, Eric Bristow, Jockey Wilson, Raymond Van Barneveld. You have all these guys on it, and when my name officially goes on it, I'll make sure I get a picture of it anyhow, and like, it'll be there and I'll never leave it.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. No matter where that trophy goes over the next few years, Shane McGuirk's name is against it there for 2024. And I'm just picturing, I wonder, Phil Taylor, Eric Bristow, Van Barneveld, and I wonder, did they put it on the mantelpiece when they had it at home?
Oh, I'd say they did. It either gets put on the mantelpiece or put in your darts room, but it's probably, it looks better on the mantelpiece, I think, than in the darts room, because in the darts room it just sits there, and you only see it when you're practicing and all. But when it's on the mantelpiece, everyone can enjoy it.
I was just going to say that. What a talking point when anyone visits the house and they can see, and it is a beautiful trophy sitting there on the mantelpiece, and what you can tell about it. You mentioned about the practice room and obviously the darts. Talk to me a wee bit about the darts that you use then as well, Shane. I take it at this stage they're tailor-made to you, professional darts per se, but they're specifically made and weighted in whatever way for yourself.
Yeah, they're my sponsors, Target Darts, make mine. They take you over, and then they get your input of what kind of a barrel you want and what kind of a weight you want, I suppose, and you work through with the design team exactly what way your grip is and how their grip profiles will fit you, I suppose. And so I kind of worked with them for a while, and we tweaked around with a couple of designs, and luckily enough, I think it was like my second design that I got, second prototype, which is the ones that I ended up winning the worlds with. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. They're perfect for me. They're weighted well. They're 23 grams, which is what I always throw. So can't thank them enough for that. Like I was always chopping and changing between darts, picking up different sets here, getting different sets made from outsourcing companies and stuff like that. So to get them to back me and produce a dart that now went on to win a world title is it's incredible. Like, because I knew what I wanted and they supplied me exactly what I wanted, and it just showed that it worked.
Yeah, and I take it there's a standard that you have to work within the dart in regards to the length, the barrel, the weight, and all that as well. So there's certain specifications you have to work within, is there?
Yeah, there's maximum length of a barrel, maximum length of overall darts, and then there's maximum weight you can have. Um, I never really was on the border of going over past any of them because I was kind of pretty standard setup anyway. Um, anything, I've never seen anyone that's actually gone over the weight because I think it's like 48 grams or something like that. So, there's a big difference in it. Like,
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't throw them anyway. I've tried them, but I wouldn't throw them flat out because you just wouldn't be fit to sustain it over long competitions, long weekends, long tournaments, weeks, or whatever it is you're going to. So, like, I think around the standard is around 21 to 24 is kind of your normal weight. So if you're in around that, I think you're happy enough. And then you have to pick your shape. You can go with small wee bomber darts, or you can go with torpedo darts, or just straight barrel darts. Like, it's kind of all in around that there. And then after that, it's just about grip profile and where you're gripping them. I think everyone's different. Like, I know loads of people who couldn't throw my darts and I couldn't throw their darts, but they work for ourselves, I suppose. And yeah, I think it's a big part of the game, knowing what you can get out of it. You need to know exactly what you want, I suppose, and what you're fit to throw. You can't just pick up a nice set of darts just because they look nice. It doesn't work that way. You just kind of have to suit your style, suit your throw, suit your stance, and your power as well.
Yeah, that's an incredible insight, because I suppose for any of us that's only doing it like ourselves in the room here, you go and you pick the fancy looking dart and you're thinking, oh, these are going to be the one that work. But as you said, at the level that you're playing at, there's an awful lot more comes into it in regards to, you said, the stance, how you hold it in your hand. Every dart player is a different way of throwing, even I suppose the speed they throw at, the release of the dart and everything else.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I know a lot of the younger lads now would go into the shops and just buy Luke Littler's darts because of the whole Luke Littler effect. And they might work for you, they might not. But if they don't suit you at all, like, I wouldn't recommend staying with them. Like, I used to use a set of darts for probably only £20 online. You buy them, and they worked for me for years. And then obviously I tailored my own darts out of that. And then eventually I got with Target, and then they tailored a set of darts that exactly the way I wanted it, from a £20 set of darts to my own darts. It's an incredible journey that you go through. Like, but it does happen, and I think that, like, a lot of the younger ones that come up and talk to me about it and say that I want my own darts made. Can I get my own darts made? How do I go about getting my darts made? You just kind of have to put time into trying different darts, different setups, different points, different stems, different flights, different barrel shapes, and everything. It's kind of more so you need to find what suits you before you're ready to take that step anyway. So there's no point getting a sponsorship from a company and then just getting a set of darts that looks nice, but it's just not tailored to you at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as you said, it has to be tailored. You just wondered what you mentioned about the flight there. How important is the flight in the dart? And again, we do see, obviously, there's always different designs. The shape probably doesn't vary that much on it, but I take it there's still little things regularly being done with flights to help the accuracy of the throw.
Yeah, there is. The shape of the flight is I suppose it's been a big one throughout the whole darts community, I suppose. You kind of look at it like, if you have a standard flight, just your normal standard shape flight, your darts will probably sit up the way. Whereas you have like a kite shaped flight or a pear shaped flight, your darts might sit flat on the board. Like, you'd look at the likes of where the Phil Taylor's darts lay on the board compared to where
Hmm.
my darts will lie on the board. So that's kind of tailored to suit yourself, I suppose, because if your darts are laying flat, you have to stack everything. So you have to be aiming underneath your treble 20 instead of over your treble 20, which I would do. So it's kind of like you kind of have to make that commitment earlier on and see if it suits you.
Right, that's an interesting perspective of it. Just, as you said, the difference in the flight causes the variation in regards to where you're aiming on the board. And I suppose it's a simple thing to say when you're standing back on the hockey and you're throwing the dart. Are you looking precisely at the treble 20? Are you picturing that's exactly where it's going? Or maybe you've hinted at it there. You're picking a point below because you know the dart's going to come up.
Yeah, well, for some people whose darts lay flat, they would pick a point below. I would generally, because my darts kick up a bit, I would generally pick either the top of the wire or just above the wire, and hoping that I can adjust the fall of the dart while throwing it, see if it can fall into a treble, or a double or whatever it is. So it's kind of on the person themselves. Like, no, there's no way I can tell someone who stacks their darts or let them lie flat. I can't tell them where to aim, where to throw. It's not really going to benefit them because I wouldn't know because I don't do it.
Yeah.
So, but if it was someone whose darts go in the same angle as myself, at least I could give them probably a bit more tips of what I would do in that situation. I've done it with a few of the younger lads, and they've improved shockingly. So, like, I mustn't be that bad at giving tips. Wish I could give more to myself, probably.
Yeah, but it's little tips like that, and then as you said, everybody then is going to adjust accordingly to suit themselves. Naturally enough, and another thing you notice with darts throwers, and I probably put you in this category, is that you're a fairly fast thrower, and you do see some slower, and it can get into the head maybe of a fast thrower. But I take it fast throwing means is you've found your point, and you want to get the three darts away as quick as possible because you know you've found where you want them to go.
Yeah, I suppose there is that way of looking at it, and then there's the nerves part of it. I suppose the longer you hold your dart in your hands, you can see the nerves you can see the dart shaking in your hand, you can feel it shaking in your hand. Whereas you have just a standard pull back and release. You're not really worrying about it too much. You kind of find your point in the board where you're looking at, and obviously the muscle memory is big in darts. Like, if you don't put the hours in at home, on the practice boards, especially in the games, like, the muscle memory won't be there. So that's kind of like where you're relying on most of the time, I suppose, more than just looking where you're going. You're kind of relying on your muscles to remember exactly uh, when to release the dart, how much power you're putting into it, or less, or if you're just floating them in, like, when to release that too. Like, so there's a lot of technical side to it, I suppose, that way. Like, but yeah, it's repetition and practice is the only way you're going to improve.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of mechanics in it, and you don't realize it till you break it down there. And I'm just thinking your first initial three darts at the start of any leg is you're going, obviously, hit the treble 20, get it the second time, treble 20. The adjustment then to within them couple of seconds that you're going for a treble, maybe going for a single, and then going for a double for an outshot. An awful lot of that has to come down to muscle memory and even the calculation in your head as well. Because the last thing you want to be doing is to be taking a second to think, oh, what am I going to be hitting next here? Because as you said, it's the repetition of going around the board.
Yeah, you kind of lose your train of thought, I suppose, and you lose your focus when you have to stand back and goes, oh, what did I leave, or what am I doing here? Where should I be going next? Like, you kind of just lose that little bit of edge that you might have, and rhythm, I suppose, as well, as if you're a rhythm player. You kind of just focus on what you're at, and learning to count, as you just touched on there. Like, learning to count is the biggest part of the game. Like, I would strongly advise any young person who's taking up the game to go and mark games, chalk games, whatever it is, count them. Try to stay away from the electronic side of it on the tablets because they're very easily used now. But go back to the old marker on the whiteboard or chalk on the chalkboard, and mark games for your local players, your local league, whatever it is, and eventually you start knowing, like, what leaves what when you're hitting scores, like, and what people are going to do, and you kind of know what way people is going to go for an outshot, so as well. So, and then you learn them for yourself whenever you're going to play, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's very much a pattern game, and you touched on it brilliantly there about learning in your own head, the arithmetic in your own head, because you'll not have the machine when you go to competition to be doing it for you. You might have somebody marking it for you, but at the same time, it's not to be breaking, as you said, your focus or your rhythm as to, oh, where am I going or what am I going to be doing next here. And when you get into certain patterns, they become nearly just part of you doing it with, I'm not going to say without thinking, but you're doing it without having to think.
Yeah, that's it. Like, there's a lot of shots in the game there where you wouldn't start in the 20s. You wouldn't go near the 20s to start off, where you start on 18s, 19s, or 17s the odd time, just to try to leave a finish. And, like after 6 starts maybe in a leg, you're starting to think, how do I get to 170 or below, just to leave myself a finish, to try and check out the game or the leg, or whatever it is. So you kind of have to work your way down there. Like, there's some shots that, like, a 140 wouldn't do you any good, but a 137 or a 132 would leave you 170, or a 140 would leave you a bogey number. So, like, that's where the maths comes into play. Like, I've seen players go up and hit a 140 that leave 166, and the player before him hit a 132 that leave 170, and then you're going in on 166. You hit two treble 20s and you can't finish. So all you can do is set up, and the player come behind you, takes out a 170, and it's kind of like your own mistake, I suppose. But it happens a lot more than you think in darts.
Yeah, it's because you're thinking, oh, I need the high score all the time. Maybe the first
Exactly.
throw, possibly. But after that, whenever you're coming down to what you want to get, as you said, the possible outshot for yourself, then you're nearly thinking a throw ahead of yourself at that stage.
Yeah, it's like snooker or anything like that. Like, you're playing, like, you're always taking a couple of shots ahead, I suppose. Like, if you have a favorite double on the dartboard, you're trying to think, how do I leave double 16? How do I leave double 20? How do I leave double 18 from here? Like, it's kind of like you're working your way down there. Like, a 140 might leave you such a finish, but 133 on the 19s could leave you double 16. Like, there's ways around all this here. Like, you have to play to your own strengths and play to your own favorite segments on the board, I suppose. I don't really have one at the minute. I kind of just go for whatever double I'm left on. But I know a lot of people do be concerned about what they leave. Like, I kind of treat them all the same. I kind of spend enough time on each double at home. Like, I'll do my routes on the 20s, 16s, 18s. Like, I work my way down from all that there, and I kind of get familiar with them all. Whereas some players there, you see, like, even the likes of Luke Littler, like, his double's double 10. Like, he's 20s and 10s. Like, so, like, sometimes he might have to switch to 16s, and it might not work out for him, or he might not be fit to leave double 10 or double 20, whatever it is he's on. So, like, he'll have to go for a different double. So, like, you kind of have to work around your strengths there. Like, and I think the younger generation have got this down to a T. Like, you go to some of the Irish ranking darts, and the young lads now are going around. The young lads and girls are going around marking games, and they're marking games, and they're flying at it. They're better than the likes of me doing it, and I'm playing a lot longer than them. And then when you see them playing, they know how to leave everything. They know how to leave all the finishes. So, like, they're probably, I don't know, they're probably more of an edge on the likes of me when I was their age. So who knows what they could become like in the future. So I kind of wish everyone at home in Ireland all the best, and in that sort of regards, like, I hope we get many more world champions out of it. And, like, as people have seen over the last while, Irish darts is on the up, and hopefully it's going to keep going that way.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a fine line to finish it out on. And I'd have to say to you, Shane, it's your success has contributed, I know, an awful lot locally to the darts here. And I know that the Plex, Sean McDermott's and all the crew that are over there, again, I met up with them on occasions, and what they were doing with young people, bringing them in, and the surge they seen after that, when a world champion of any sport is someone that you can say, or you'd meet on the street, or they're from your hometown, it's only but natural that it brings a boost to any sport, and we've borne witness to that. I'm thinking back to 40 years of Barry McGuigan being a world champion in the boxing end of things, the amount of boxers that was produced on the back of that then as well. If we looked at snooker and Ken Doherty whenever he was doing it, or even certain Dennis Taylor, the generation of snooker players that would have come on the back of that then as well. And it appears to be the turn now, particularly darts here in Ireland. We know it's a big sport, and it's always been a big sport and played at a high level in England. But it's brilliant to see, as you said there, that it's now being picked up here in Ireland as well. Listen, we wish you the best of luck on your travels. We'll be keeping in contact. We're looking forward to the lakeside already. I take it you're booked in. You're getting the full now bells, whistles and VIP treatment in it this time round.
Yes, I hope so. I don't know what they've planned, but they normally do something special, so it'll be nice to go over and you'll know everyone from being there before last year. You know the whole committee that's on that runs the whole event, and some of the producers and everything. I've got to know a lot better through Modus, I suppose, as well, because you see some of them interchanging there. So it'll be a nicer environment, I suppose, more friendly and I suppose more familiar when I go back over this year.